So the topic of this video will be religion, spirituality, and what I personally believe in and wanted to share with you. And I've been meaning to do this video for quite a while now, but I've been hesitant and put it off mainly due to this is a very touching and personal topic to many people, whether you're religious, just spiritual, or even if you're atheist or don't have any beliefs at all. I think it impacts everyone in one way or another. And usually, whenever you go anywhere online, especially even on YouTube, almost every video you click, you often see all these religious or mentality type wars, starting on topics that have nothing to do with it. For example, like you're watching, let's say, a video about riding a bike, and then someone writes Jesus saves or something else. If you don't do this, you're gonna go to hell, and off topic. I think these people are mostly trolls, and it's the same way another person might say God is dead. Your religion and all this is crap and la la la. And that really, it's a personal thing to most people, so they'll start reacting to it. And then all of a sudden, a page about bikes or something else goes into this hatred war. One person is bashing the other, you're wrong, and la la la. And pretty much the whole comment section is dead. Everything's filled up with all this hatred. It does have nothing to do with the topic of the video. And hopefully this doesn't happen on this video. Most of my audience are pretty smart and respectful people. But that's kind of a little pet peeve I have. Every time, it's just all this hatred for no reason. And not necessarily because people really oppose ideas, another opposes another idea. So it just becomes a mess. But overall, I think that there are some very important things that I want to discuss. And I'm going to make a little list going down to some of the questions, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them. So let us begin. So first of all, let me begin by saying, what do I think of religion, spirituality, and other belief systems? Now, what I believe is everyone has the right to believe in whatever they want. That's the whole beauty of having free will. You have the right to believe whatever you want, any ideology, and really to do anything you want, legal or not. But the thing is, everything carries its own price, its own consequences. So whatever you do, whatever you believe in, you have to really make sure you know what you're doing, or that you believe that's right. And whatever are the consequences, you have to accept them, essentially. So is religion inherently evil? Now, clearly I don't believe, but I can see where people are coming with this. And usually it's split up between the two things I've seen. If you're a believer, is you have spirituality, which is kind of an individual type of thing. You go your own way, you believe, you're still seeking God, you still have beliefs in an afterlife. Versus religion, where it's more of a cult-like mentality, or at least that's what the world kind of perceives it to be. Where you have a huge group and you're just following one thing. You don't really have your own way of thinking, your own right. You're kind of following something. And to an extent, I agree and highly disagree with that. And the reason being mostly is with religion, it follows people who share a lot in common or a common fate, I would say. They find things together in a group, not say get a bigger group. Individual spirituality, that's kind of a thing where a person goes off, but the danger is you might go off your own way and not necessarily find what you're looking for. You might get deceived. So the way I pretty much perceive religion is a group of people with the same belief system, same belief style that form together and grow. That gives it size. Now, at the same time, you might thinking, well, what about all these evils that religion has created? And the world really would be better without religion. And in some ways, I kind of see that where you're going from, but it won't really solve the problem once you think really more deeply about it. In its own way, I don't think anything is really hatred or evil in its own sense. It's kind of what you bring into it. I mean, mostly any organization you can think of, it doesn't matter, even if it's belief, even a sport, there's going to be corruption in it at one point or another. And it's these bad apples that ruin the whole bunch. They give a certain religion a bad name or build a certain stereotype automatically. So everyone has their own little stereotype of someone else. and that distance people between each other and creates all this problem that creates hatred, and out of nowhere you get violence from weak-minded people. So it's pretty much people like that really spoil a name. And I also understand that religion can be politically motivated because you take something that's really dear and personal to a person and you apply your own political principles to it in your own greedy agendas. And you kind of push or drive people to a certain way. And whenever people see that, they see, so that's kind of evil right there. Or, that's not leading to the right way. It's kind of going against the whole religious belief system. And that's why I really believe that's the evil that really destroys. It's not the outside enemies or people, it's really the evil inside the church. It manifests itself and it destroys itself from within like a parasite. And that's where I think the focus of attention should be. Not the religion itself or any organization, but the individuals who create all this negativity, all this trouble, and really don't even follow the beliefs and mislead the other people. That's, I think, the problem is to attack the individual and see where they're going with it. Because even in politics, I mean, look at it, it's extremely dirty. It's like the worst thing you can imagine. Don't want to get involved in that. And same way, religion kind of becomes that. It's a way to control people, or at least that's what it becomes to. Because a lot of people believe in something, and you kind of lie to them. People who can't really see past some things, and really easy to manipulate them to do what you want. And that's where a lot of evil comes in from people. Now, saying again, is it only strictly to religion? No, I don't think so. I think the main word here is ideology. Because really, it's the idea. Even looking at all the evil, like, let's say, militant atheism, really nothing religion. They wanted to get God out of the whole thing completely. Or like in the Soviet Union, or a lot of the persecution that's going around the world on religious people or people with beliefs. They want to delete that, but see, nothing really spiritual. It's kind of going its own way, but at the same time, look at all the evil it's going. It's another way of believing. Even if there's no God in there, it's a system of believing something, and you're forcing other people to do the same. See, it's that kind of same evil mentality. These people who want to manipulate the weaker people to doing something evil doesn't have to necessarily be religious. Or even looking at North Korea, you would say reading a Bible or something can almost get you killed, not necessarily exactly killed, especially if you're reading it to someone else, that's a big no-no. And it makes you think, even though it's atheistic or non-believing as the majority, you have Kim Jong-un as the main leader, and he has the same God complex. So in a way, it's not even religion, it's kind of a person manipulating people and becoming a god in one way or another. Kind of to get personal gain, personal servitude. So that type of corruption, when lead over time, it develops into a disease, and that's what created wars. And I'm thinking something. Let's say how some people say the world would be much better off if there was no religion, none beliefs at all. Believe what you want. Well, true, but the thing is, there's still ideology, right? Every person has their own beliefs. Every person perceives the world in their own way, and sooner or later they're gonna conflict each other. No God, nothing else. Just personal beliefs, personal stuff like that. You're gonna say, I don't like that. And then you're gonna have atheistic or non-believing wars on different things. The economy, let's say, or the environment. And on all sides, you have people who are very passionate and kind about the environment. They want to educate people to help preserve this little world we live in. And on the other broad spectrum, we have people who are hateful, start protesting, destroying cages, wrecking property to get their message across. And what happens that way? They become evil. People perceive these environmentalists are evil people. They're not doing anything right. And that's what I believe. Any kind of idea or religion you want to share with a person, it must be done out of love. Anytime there's hatred, or if you force your ideas on anyone, remember this, it's like trying to feed someone. If you force feeding someone, they're going to regurgitate and throw it all back at you. It's kind of like spitting in the wind. It's going to come back at you. So the only way to ever get your ideas out or share is to do it with love and passion, and more importantly, show people what you believe in and why. So really, don't force your ideas on anyone. And let's get away from the religion topic for a bit and say, lifestyle, your health, you're saying to another person, you shouldn't eat like that, you shouldn't do that, and you're bashing them. You kind of force them to change their own ways, which conflict with their ways. And overall, it creates conflict. So what I'm saying, it's not necessarily that religion is evil or belief systems. It's the people who have greedy agendas, or they do it in a form of hatred and destructive. That's going to lead always to conflict and wars. I mean, if we can fix that problem between people having mutual respect and love, well, between each other, we can solve many problems around the world. Probably not have any wars. But human greed, human arrogance are always going to get in the way. So regardless, whatever religion it is, whatever beliefs, there's always going to be conflict as long as we have that bound or that gap between each other. And unfortunately, you can't change every person to be kind and passionate or compassionate to each other. So that's pretty much why I believe religion inherently is not evil, but it can become like any organization, destructive and hateful. So now, some people have asked me, what is it that I believe in? What's my religion or spirituality or way of viewing life? And personally, I keep to or tend to keep to myself. I'm not really the type of preachy person who goes around, like I said before, bashing people. I believe in, you live your own way, and if someone else is interested in it or they see the way, they would gain and they would research or study it for themselves and see what it is. So I'll begin with a little story of how I transitioned or got to my belief system. And that started out when I was in my teenage years. During that time, I wasn't really spiritual or had a belief in God. I was kind of, neutral to it. It didn't make a big impact or importance in my life. But then as I got older, I started to think much more deeper about life, more philosophical, so to say. And I started to see what is the meaning of life, those type of questions. What is our purpose, our being here? And that got me thinking how simple our life is, but at the same time, it's so complicated. Meaning, just the way the whole world works, there are certain laws already put in place. And how complex our system, even if our bodies, like, I don't think we'll ever be able to discover everything else. There's so much out there. So as I started thinking deeper, I thought, with life, it can't just be something that simple. I mean, out of nowhere, something starts to form, something so complex and deep. And just this whole mentality of, you live, you breathe, and then you die, and then you kind of repeat. Well, I thought to myself, even though it works, but what's the real point behind this? So why would something have to be existing to do that? So that got me thinking there's probably something much higher than that. Either a higher purpose or something bigger than myself, something attainable, something in the spiritual realm. Because when you know it's in life, everything it's not as easy as it looks. With life, there are events, there are other things that I believe have a supernatural impact on them. So as I started looking deeper in life, I started to look deeper and more important, put more importance into religion and belief systems people have, different religions, and try to see what is the common ground they all have. Because maybe I thought that's what could give me an answer. And through discovering it, what I found is the main attribute that runs around it is love. And I really believe that love is the universal law. It's the force that creates life and gives hope. And I thought, where is this love that I'm going to find? Where is the source this love's come from? That's kind of where I believe God is. And that was kind of my little journey into finding that love. Because I thought, at first, love is cheesy, it's kind of corny, love stories. But when you really think of it, love is the strongest force on earth. Because only a strong person can have love. Because it's really easy to hate someone, but it's hard to love. It's really easy to bash someone and throw hatred, but it's really hard to forgive. That takes a lot of strength. And that really shows your character. And it revolves really around sacrifice. And from personal beliefs, what I've seen is which of these belief systems or what is this deity that has this love? And what I found it personally was in Jesus Christ over a period of time. Because what I've seen in many other deities, they have you have to give me something. I'm a god, and you worship me, you give me this stuff, and for a reason, I just created you. So with Jesus Christ, what I see is the creator of everything, the architect of life, going back down to the earth. God pretty much humbled himself down to the earth, living the King of Kings, living as a peasant, and then sacrificing his life for his beings so they can have eternal life and returning him back. So essentially, it's God becoming men so men can become gods again, or divine bring him back again. That's what I believe, that's the whole message of the cross. It wasn't just a bloody sacrifice, here it is. We paid the price, that's the bloody price for redemption. That's the price of sin. I think really what it was is kind of like a disease or a consequence. People rob themselves of divinity. It's kind of like a parasite. You start to rot, you start going away and deeper, and you become this animalistic or malicious type of person. And really no bounds of love. But through love, you can clean yourself and then try it back and return again. Because going back again, you see, with love, what are the main characteristics of true love? Not saying something, but actually true love is, you can't say, I love someone, like say, I love you. But it's just words. There's no meaning behind them, no purpose. Really, that's not love. Real love is this. Real love is sacrifice and humility. Putting yourself before other people. So people come first, you come last. You come to serve. Because that's what really love is. You help other people and you serve them. You try to make their life for the better. And what I believe is, if you have your own life, you live for only yourself. When you die, that's one life you lived for. But if you help other people, or you do good for other people, your life is now worth, let's say, 100 people's life or 1,000 people's life, because your life had much more value put into this world than just for yourself. So that's another reason really to live for others. And through Jesus' teachings, that's what I discovered. And sacrifice, love is sacrifice. You don't do something for yourself, you do something for another person to make them better. That really shows that you love them. Or like, let's say our parents, or at least most parents, they would sacrifice whatever they have. Maybe one day they won't eat something to make sure that you ate. That really shows the emotion of love. That's really the basis of it. Now, I also wanted to take some quotes out of the Bible to say concerning this is what James said was, faith without works is dead. And that is essentially true, because whatever you believe in, or no matter how much you think you believe in, it's all in your head like any idea. As long as it stays there, it's pretty much dead. To really live or to have faith is to have a living faith. Something, any idea, anything that starts in the mind, but to really be existent, it has to come out, has to be physically done. Like I said with the family, you can't just say, I love you. You have to really show it. You have to show your faith. You have to show that you really believe and you follow it. And that's why I also believe in the commandments is to love yourself, love thy neighbor, and of course, love the Most High, which is God. And, really, that's what the whole idea revolves around it. When you share love, then you can love God. And it's kind of like the cycle. This energy that provides you and then gives you, meaning and higher meaning in life, like a purpose. When you live for yourself, you're not really going to get a higher purpose. Also, what I think about people who don't believe in Jesus Christ or don't have that same belief system, are they potentially or eternally doomed to eternal hell? Like, I don't really have that concept or idea. The way I perceive it or I see it is, what about those people who never heard of Jesus Christ or don't even have that belief system? They're already eternally doomed to hell or eternal damnation? Well, that wouldn't make sense. What I really think is, if you want to prove that you love God or you live by His commandments, is you have to show love. Now, a lot of people who have no idea who Jesus Christ is, for example, or don't even believe in Him, they still do His work. They still do the works of a real, true Christian. They show compassion, they show love, and they care. They love thy neighbor. That's the most important thing. Because without love, you're pretty much, you're dead. You don't really have much purpose in life. When you have love, your life is much more fulfilling. So that brings me to another saying by Matthew, where he says, by their deeds you shall know them. And meaning that is, Doesn't matter if you're wearing a cross, you go to church every day, you can still be a really horrible person. And vice versa. Someone who seems all evil with tattoos and stuff can be one of the nicest person or nicest people you can ever meet in your life. That's why you should never judge a person. You don't know inside them what's going on. So it's kind of like just because someone wears a police uniform, a priest, or something else, automatically, hey, look, it's a good person. It could be a criminal. I mean, look at politics. Look at people who are supposed to represent you. It's a lot of evil, a lot of slander, and every organization has this. People get in and they cover behind beliefs, they cover behind the system, and kind of manipulate people, like going back to the beginning of it. So, but I think people who truly have love and humility, they can inherently be evil. That's a trait you have. When a person has love inside them, they're necessarily good already as it is. Doesn't matter who they are. And those people are who are following God's commandments. Because see, the kingdom of heaven is inherited by the meek and the humble, the kind and the loving. So even though you don't know God, you know by inherently the teaching, because that's what people are drawn to, is by love. No matter where you look, that's something we can all find in common. And say, really, the greatest, or many wise people would say, the greatest gap or the greatest distance between two people is misunderstanding. They can't find the common ground. And what I personally believe is the thing that unites us and something that we can all understand is love. If you have love between us, doesn't matter who we are, we can always find together some kind of basis and we can grow together. That's why I think love is really important. It's the greatest of all forces, and that's what really ties us in. Because once you do evil things and things of that nature, really, you're destroying yourself. All things, or inherently people, they follow or they draw themselves to love. That's kind of one thing they find. It's kind of an emotion that uplifts people, it gives them hope, it gives them life. And returning back, of course, Jesus Christ, for all his sacrifice for us, human beings, so we have eternal life. To me, that shows, dedication. It shows truly compassion for his creatures. And it gives me hope for an eternal life. Because even the cross I have right here, to me, it's not just a cross. It's, a big symbol. Or right here, to me, what it represents is victory over death. And since death is also the center or the core of all our fears, really, if you think about any fear, it resolves around death. Because we'll probably die. You're scared of people because probably they'll kill you. You're scared of heights because you'll probably fall and die. You're scared of this and that because you'll get an infection and die. Irrelevant, but that's where it leads to. But at the same time, not only is this a symbol of, the funeral of death, trampling death by death, but also trampling fear. It's the death of fear at both ends. Because when you have love, you really have nothing to fear. God is on your side. And will take care of you. So now, a symbol that was once a symbol of death, despair, and agony, now is a symbol of life, of hope, and of healing. So it becomes like totally meaning. It destroys, and to me, that's what it symbolizes. So when I look at the cross, it gives me hope, and then it reminds me of the person, because if it wasn't for Jesus Christ, who else would have, paved us a path to eternal life, or gave us hope again? What he did was, it's kind of like a disease when people died. They went straight to hell, or that place essentially, a destructive place. And I don't think hell is literally an eternal fire or another thing. It's kind of a place where you're without God, you're without hope. Because let's think of it like this way. When you're severely depressed or you live in despair, you almost want to kill yourself, because even killing yourself is not as bad as that agony or spiritual suffering you feel inside. You'd rather kill yourself to end them both, but in hell, without God, without love, without hope, it's like cold. You're living in this, spiritual fire where you're burned. And I don't think people or God really condemns people there. They kind of choose that place themselves. Either through their deeds, they don't ignite the fire of love within their hearts. they kind of spread out and then evil overtakes them. And then they just can't exist. That's kind of like this realm of despair and suffering. Spiritual, because I think that's the really main pains in life. It's a lot of the spiritual side, not really physical pain. There's a limit to that, of course, but think about it. If you have a scar, like some people say, I'd rather get punched in the face than experience all this mental and spiritual trauma for a year. It's a lot worse. You might be thinking, well, it's just words, it's just emotions, but it's a lot deeper than that. And that's why I think there's a soul, and that's what we have. And really, I would say, God makes the final choice. He tests our heart. That's what's true. That's another thing to think about is you can't really hide. You can lie to people, you can lie to others, but you can't ever lie to yourself or God. He can see your heart. He knows really what's going on in there. So even if you portray yourself as nice, you might be evil on the inside. You can't hide from that. So that's where I think he really tests us there. That's the whole basis of faith and really what he wants. He wants to see, are we pure at heart? Can we live with him? That's really it. And another way. Through that, I think we can achieve it. And even if you don't believe, whatever it is, I think love is something we can all agree on. And that's my main message for today. Just share and have love amongst each other. And overall, life will be a lot more better. And as a little way to finish off this video, I'm going to share with you a little short clip of some passages that are really focus or emphasize on the element of love, and I think will really motivate you to be a more caring and kind person. Because above anything, have love and kindness in yourself. And with that, I leave you, and thank you for watching this video. So take care, guys. I wish you an abundance of health, and truly I wish God blesses each and every one of you, all your friends and all your families. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
I may be able to speak the languages of human beings and even of angels, but if I have no love, my speech is no more than a noisy gong or a clanging bell. I may have the gift of inspired preaching. I may have all knowledge and understand all secrets. I may have all the faith needed to move mountains. But if I have no love, I am nothing. I may give away everything I have, and even give up my body to be burned. But if I have no love, this does me no good. Love is patient and kind. It is not jealous or conceited or proud. Love is not ill-mannered or selfish or irritable. Love does not keep a record of wrongs. Love is not happy with evil, but is happy with the truth. Love never gives up, and its faith, hope, and patience never fail.